Hi, this is ExGileadMissionary with another one of my informational videos about Jehovah's Witnesses. In a previous video, I mentioned that as I entered Gilead, I began noticing certain things that bothered me about the organization, about its teachings. Now, in the second week of Theocratic Organization, we had an assignment, and the assignment was to analyze what happened with miracle wheat. Now, before I went to Gilead, I had never heard about the miracle wheat before. Now, it's been all over the internet about the society was selling miracle wheat with claims about its miraculous powers, that it was able to grow much more and produce many more seeds of wheat than other varieties of wheat, and therefore the society was just in selling it at a high price. Now, the society addressed this issue in the 1975 yearbook, as well as in the 1953 WatchTower, where they addressed a claim made by an apostate Tract that the society was selling this miracle wheat at such a high price, it was really ripping people off. Now, that's what the focus was when we were at Gilead, that the society really was justified in selling the miracle wheat for the price it did, and that it wasn't really ripping anybody off. Well, I accepted that. I accepted, well, perhaps the society had the right to sell the miracle wheat for the price it could, but it seemed to me that there was a logical fallacy going on. The problem that I would have with the society selling miracle wheat would be not the price, whether the society was selling it at $10 a bushel or $50 or $60 a bushel. That doesn't bother me. What bothered me was that the society was actually selling something in the pages of the WatchTower. Now, I had been raised to believe that the society had never been involved in any commercial endeavor, that Pastor Russell had said when God did not want the WatchTower to continue, contributions would cease. So what bothered me about miracle wheat was not that it was being sold at a high price. What bothered me was that why was the society engaged in a commercial activity in the first place? Why was the society selling something in the pages of the WatchTower? I'd never known that the society had actually engaged in selling products in its magazines. Miracle wheat was not the only product that the society was selling. There were other products that the society advertised in its early copies in the first few decades of its publication. Now, another issue that concerned me as we were discussing the life of Charles Russell in Gilead was that as he began his study of the scriptures around his late teens, he began an independent study of the scriptures. He had been brought up as a Christian, but he questioned some of the beliefs that he had been raised to believe. And as he went to visit different churches, such as the Adventist churches, he began to pick different beliefs that he seemed to make sense and he believed were in accordance with the Bible. Now, as I think about this, Charles Russell did an independent study of the Bible. While he had friends who he discussed the Bible with, and as he was forming different groups, eventually he broke off and formed his own Bible study group, the Bible Students. Now, if you think about that, Charles Russell was raised to believe in certain beliefs, yet he was dissatisfied with them and broke off and formed his own religion. Now, if you think about what the society says about witnesses today, what if a Jehovah's Witness were to do the same thing? What if a Jehovah's Witness were to say, the beliefs I believed in from when I was growing up, they don't really make sense to me. I think I'm going to go independently and review the Bible independently. What does a society say about a person who would do that? Worse, what would a society say about a person who would not only study the Bible independently, but would take it to the next step and form his own religion? How does the society view such a person today? Well, that was very worrisome to me as I was going through Gilead, that it seemed like Charles Russell had not been part of any faithful and discreet slave class that had been feeding each generation one after the other, but rather he, from his own independent study of the Bible, came to his own conclusions about the Bible. Unfortunately today, any Jehovah's Witness who does that will be considered an apostate. In my case, I began to question my beliefs. I began to think a lot of the teachings that Charles Russell and later on the WatchTower has taught do not really conform to what the Bible says, and I decided not to believe in them anymore. Rather than being considered someone good for taking this stance, the WatchTower has vilified me, announced that I'm no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and considers me an apostate. I don't see what I have done any different from what Charles Taze Russell has done. Yet he is glorified, and I am vilified. Anyway, as I continued my Gilead school, there were other teachings of the WatchTower Society that didn't really seem to match with the Bible, and I will continue to discuss these in my future videos.